away. Hey, never seen a day break. Leaning on my pillow in the morning light. Whoa, ho, ho, it's magic. You know, never believe it's not so. It's magic. You know, never believe it's not so. Ho, 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 it's magic. You know, never believe it's not so. It's magic. You know, never believe it's not so.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Ted Nugent speaking fluent Democrat.
All right.
Basically translated, that means I will do whatever you say, or if you shove lies up my ass, I will parrot them mindlessly for you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Welcome to Wednesday. We've made it to the peak of the week. Thank you, Angela. I love the flag. I have another flag here somewhere. Where'd it go? Oh, you know what? I'm all trumped out today. Got the Trump hat, got the Trump shirt, and I got the Trump mask. My pants are not Trump. My pants are Wrangler. I think. I don't even know. I don't buy. My wife buys them for me. I have no idea what they are. Welcome to the show. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today. We've got Dr. G coming in this morning at 9:30. If you have a question for a doctor, get him in now. Put him on the Facebook. Good morning, Reggie. Good morning, Alany, Angela, Bonnie, Mike. Oh, Mike's in there. Mike's viewing the feed from the next room, I guess. That's nice. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. Anessa is there. Hello, Anessa. Nice to see you as well. Goodness. All right, we're getting things off to a rip-roaring start here. And the questions for the doctor. He is a real, live medical doctor, no copay necessary. You ask questions, and he will answer as best he can, give you advice that is the best advice you can get from a doctor who really is not examining you, but is taking your symptoms and saying where you might want to start. Oftentimes, it's a PCP, but he can also give you some ideas. Now, mind you, it's ideas. He will be the first to tell you this. Some ideas of what some of the problems could be and how quickly you should get to a doctor. He, one of our listeners last week, gave his symptoms, and he suggested, based on the symptoms, that you don't wait another day to get to the doctor. You go now, and if your doctor can't take you, you go to the ER. So the advice is good. So if you're feeling, and this has always been a problem for me, and it was, I take from my dad, who is exactly like this. You don't want to seem like, some people have no problem going to the doctor, whenever they get a splinter, right? You know the people, and that's fine. I mean, if they're worried, you do what you need to do. Other people like me feel like a hypochondriac. I can be having chest pains and say, nah, it's probably just, and this is exactly what I did a couple of years ago. I was having chest pains. I figured it was probably some, something I'd eaten, and it just persisted and got a little worse. And it was my wife that said, no, you've got to call an ambulance. And I didn't want to do that. So she wound up leaving her work as an RN and coming and taking me in to the emergency room. So this may help, shall we say, light a fire under your butt. If the doctor says, these symptoms sound like something you really shouldn't ignore. You shouldn't be Mr. Hero, and I'm not going to the doctor. You should go to the doctor. And I hope our friend got to the doctor last week and got it checked out, and everything's okay. Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you, Casey. And I mean that in the most masculine of ways, because I do suffer from toxic masculinity. Thank you, Inessa. PhD. Well, I can put whatever I want to after my name. Hey, Ryan, I can put a PhD after my name if I want to, because radio people can be whatever they want to be when they're on the air. But I will not profess to be anywhere near smart enough to have a PhD by my name. I did not go to become a doctor, to school to become a doctor. I'm more of a computer nerd and a radio guy. So I'm going to tell you my credentials right off the bat, and then you can take whatever you want to that I say seriously or not, or just discard it like yesterday's trash, if you would like to. Okay, let's see. Why don't we do this day in history? By the way, welcome into all the pages that we have shared with. There are a bunch of them in there. We've got no, I didn't share with Millennials for Social Justice. I've checked that page out. I could share. I could start a watch party. I wonder if we could convert anybody, or if that would get me kicked off Facebook. I don't know, because they wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like what they'd hear on the page Millennials for Social Justice. I became a member of that page because I just wanted to see what they all are talking about. In fact, I will visit it. I will call it up here during the break for Today in History, and I will see some of the things they're posting and decide whether or not I want to take a chance and share with that page. I doubt it, but we'll take a look. It's 9:23 right now, and the date is October the 7th, and this is the Associated Press with a little history for ya.
October 7th, 2001. Just weeks after the September 11th terror attacks, the United States and Britain launched military strikes on Afghanistan. On a videotape, Osama bin Laden praises God for the 9/11 attacks, but the al-Qaeda leader does not claim responsibility for them. 1985. In the Mediterranean, Palestinian gunmen hijacked the Achille Lauro, an Italian cruise ship off the coast of Egypt. The hijackers kill passenger Leon Klinghoffer, an elderly Jewish-American tourist, before surrendering 2 days later. 1991. In Washington, U.S. Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas faces damaging allegations of sexual harassment. Law professor Anita Hill accuses Thomas of making sexually inappropriate comments when she worked for him in 2 federal agencies during the 1980s. Hill urges the Senate to investigate. Thomas denies her claims, and the Senate later confirms him. 1998. Matthew Shepard, a gay college student, is beaten and left tied to a wooden fence post outside Laramie, Wyoming. Shepard dies 5 days later. Russell Henderson and Aaron McKinney are serving life sentences for his murder. 1951.
Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah. Little pink houses for you and me.
John Mellencamp, the singer and songwriter with Heartland rock hits, is born in Seymour, Indiana. And 1982.
Memory, all alone in the moonlight.
In New York, Cats, the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, opens on Broadway. Today in History, October 7th. Mike Gracia, The Associated Press.
Yeah, there you go. Today in History, Cats. I never saw Cats. I really don't have any desire to see Cats. But I do love Memories. I do love that song. And I hate to say it, but I really love the version by Barbra Streisand I do. You know, I'm not a fan at all of Barbra Streisand personally, but I do love Barbra Streisand's songs. You know, I try to separate the art from the person. I know sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I can't. You know, Susan Sarandon, cannot watch Susan Sarandon in a movie. Cannot tolerate it. I cannot watch the Flintstones movie again because you know who is in it. Betty Rubble, Rosie O'Donnell. She did a great Betty Rubble, though. I've got to tell you, right down to the laugh. Right down to the laugh. Rosie, okay, maybe I would watch the Flintstones movie again just because it's the freaking Flintstones. I would just have to, because I always thought, this is going to sound so creepy. But my creepy is going to be overshadowed by Joe Biden later in the show, so you'll want to stick around for that. I used to think on the cartoon, when I was a kid, I used to think Betty Rubble was hot. I know, it's weird. Wilma? No, Wilma was like your mother, right? But Betty was like this hot young thing. And then, you know, and when the kids grew up, I kind of like Pebbles too, to be honest with you. And I see how creepy that is. Oh, John, he's dreaming. He's having visions of cartoon people. He's don't judge me. 927 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. All right, we've got to take a break here. We've got Dr. G. If you have a question for a real medical doctor, now's the time to get it in. You can text it. You can go ahead and Facebook it if you would like. We're not going to do conference calls because we don't have a good conference call system working for us right now. We're working on that, I think. But we will do the texts and we will do the Facebook posts. So if you have any questions of the good doctor, go ahead and get him into us now. Dr. John Garofalo, recently retired medical doctor, PCP, ER doc, and many, many years. And he's always in the books, always studying, always keeping up on what's going on, especially now in the era of COVID-19. So he's completely up to date, and he will not give you specific medical advice. But if he thinks your symptoms sound like they need to be seen, post haste, like last week's gentleman did, and I have not heard back from him, by the way. Hopefully, he is listening now and will let me know if he got some sort of a diagnosis or everything's okay. That would be good because he had some pretty severe things going on, it sounded like. Anyway, stick around. We'll be back with a good doctor and a lot more coming up. Pep Rally for Freedom is here. I'm John James.
WSKW, AM 1160.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now is the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share a wonderful memory of your past with friends and family. Townline Antiques open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow, Vassalboro Town Line.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by COA for Senate, Allen Road Treasurer.
This is Bill Green.
Growing up in Maine, I've always been proud of our senators on both sides of the aisle. And I'm especially proud to know Susan Collins. In times of crisis, she's displayed courage and integrity, whether it was reforming our intelligence community after 9/11 or fighting the pandemic today. Susan is a problem solver. She's at the center of nearly every common sense solution that makes our government work better. And while Susan hasn't changed, politics sadly has. This year, Mainers have suffered through the most expensive negative campaign in our history, with $40 million being spent by out-of-state groups trying to buy our vote. We know Susan, and we know what they're saying just isn't true. So don't let out-of-state bullies with big checkbooks buy Maine's Senate seat. This is Bill Green. I trust Susan Collins because she is from, of, and for the people of Maine, always.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Center. If your car is wrecked and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be your fault. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers. MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Welcome back. And good morning to you. Good morning, Dr. G. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing pretty well, thank you. Getting through everything okay, huh? Are you staying inside? You going out much?
Yeah, we're with the kids being back at school and that kind of stuff. We've been kind of laying a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I'll go to the grocery store and and I've got if there's other things that we absolutely need, I'll go get those. But we're not doing too much else. So.
Well, I'm one of these guys. I'm here at the station. I go out and I have to do different things and meetings and stuff. But other than that, I am very much a homebody. Probably to my detriment. Actually, I should be out more in public, but that's not who I am. It's kind of weird that way. So home's a good place to be. I think you're safer there, and I'm certainly a lot more comfortable there. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got now we'll get right into questions and so forth here. I'm trying to see who this is. If this is the gentleman who had a problem.
Yeah, we talked about last week.
Yeah, and I was wondering about it.
I heard you say you hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't. And I'm looking. I've got a couple of texts here this morning. I'm checking out right now, and I am checking the text for those who have sent in. Okay, this is the guy right here, and Ken it's Ken. I thought it was Ken. I wasn't sure. I'm going to the doctor today after the show. I'm okay, but should have tried to get in sooner, but I would have had to make a big scene and didn't want to go to the ER. See, this is the same thing. I was talking about this before you called. The same thing I do. This is just like me. I don't want to make a scene. And I think that's it. You don't want to be treated like you're some sort of a hypochondriac or an emergency case or something, but sometimes you should. And I never know what the delineation is. When should I stop thinking, I don't really want them to think I'm a fool. But at the same time, it could be something serious. I mean, how do you make that judgment?
Well, and we talked about this briefly last week where I used that, gushing, crushing, or has a fever criteria.
Yeah.
If you have crushing substernal chest pain, or if you have, or if you have chest pain associated with other symptoms, that's certainly an emergency. If you have something that's gushing, you get something that's bleeding. The bleeding is brisk, and Of course, all bleeding you control with pressure first.
Right.
Not tourniquets, pressure first. Stuff like that. And then the other thing with the gushing criteria is, if you've been vomiting for days,
right,
or having diarrhea for days, that's a reason to be concerned. If you're dehydrated, that becomes emergent. And then crushing, like you have an injury, crushing also comes under the heading of injuries.
Right.
When you have any kind of serious injury where something might have gotten broken, that needs to be checked. But any kind of severe crushing also covers severe pain, like you had severe calf pain or something like that, especially accompanied by shortness of breath. And then of course fevers. If you have you get a fever for kids, if you get a fever of 102 or more and you can't get it down, that's a reason to be concerned. If adults, they start getting over 101, that's time to start to pay attention.
Okay. Now, kids can withstand higher temperatures better, right?
It's not so much that they can withstand higher temperatures better as they will go up a little higher, a little faster.
Okay, I see.
Kids will get a fever from almost anything.
Yeah. Now I've seen temps in kids 104, 105. What is? Hold on here.
What is what?
I got a telemarketer on the phone, I think, or a client. I don't know. So anyway, 104, 105. What is the danger zone for anybody when you've just got to?
I mean, obviously, if you get a sustained fever, specifically over 103, 103 and up is really the big danger zone. Sustained fever between 102 and 103. If it stays there long enough, you can cause some problems too.
Right.
But certainly for an adult, over 103 is when you really got to start to be concerned.
Okay. All right.
Or 103 and up, I should say.
Now, getting in cold water or cool water should you do?
No, not cold water.
Not cold.
You want to get in tepid water.
Tepid,
You want to get in water that someone who's not sick, if they stick their hand in it, it feels either hot nor cold.
Oh, okay.
Here's the problem with too cold water. What your body's response to peripheral, extremity cooling, is to shut down circulation to those areas.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because your body looks at it as a source of heat loss.
Right, okay.
And then what that does, it keeps all the heat in the core, which is where you don't want it. And so too cold of water will actually make things worse.
Okay, so you don't want too much heat in your core.
No, the brain specifically.
Okay, all right. So the brain is considered the core, and that sounds stupid. I bet that sounds like a.
No, but there's difference between core muscles and the body's core.
Okay, all right.
The body's core is anything inside the skull, inside the chest, inside the abdominal cavity.
Okay, all right.
That's the core of the body from a medical perspective.
Okay, that's good to know. I always when I thought the core, I always thought like the abdomen. Inside the abdomen, that like the center of an apple, the core of a human body. But the brain, that's interesting.
You got to consider the brain part of the. You got to consider the brain part of the core.
Okay,
so
all right.
In terms of damage from fevers and stuff like that.
All right. Here's another question about the brain. While we're at it. When you get smacked on the head, or and this happens to kids a lot, it happens to adults, and you worry they smack their head so hard, and there's no cut or anything. You worry about you get the bump, and you worry about some kind of a closed brain injury. And the first thing your mom tells you, and I remember this, is don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
Well,
what is that?
No, the deal on that is sleepiness. Someone's starting to go to sleep from something like that is a bad sign.
Okay.
So it's not that you shouldn't go to sleep. It's that if you start getting sleepy, you got to speak up right away.
Oh, okay. All right.
So because that's a worrisome sign. Here's the thing on head injuries. If you get whacked in the head, if you've had loss of consciousness, you got to be seen. Period.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's for 2 seconds.
All right.
Okay. Now, the other problem is that you can have concussions that do not lead to loss of consciousness that can still cause serious problems. The other thing is that the brain is suspended in liquid. and so are blood vessels. And so you get hit in the head, and some of those blood vessels can break. And so you get what we call subdural hematomas. The wrappings around the brain are called the dura.
Right. Yep.
There's another wrapping around the brain called the arachnoid layer. And the reason it's called that is because arachnoid looks like a spider web kind of thing.
Okay.
If you look at it, but you can get subarachnoid bleeding, you can get subdural bleeding, you can get epidural bleeding. Epidural bleeding is between the skull and the dura, the lining around the brain.
And the pressure, there's nowhere to expand.
That's right. The brain has nowhere to go. And so that pressure can do severe brain damage. And the things you want to watch for when you've had a head injury like that, anytime, the worrisome signs, if you suddenly have trouble walking, if you suddenly have trouble holding your urine or your bowel, or someone starts to not make sense.
Right.
That could be any of us anytime, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone who's usually
3 hours every day.
If someone who's usually with the program, suddenly doesn't seem to be with it, or just seems to be sort of vacant, or that's worrisome. That becomes an emergency, and you got to find out whether there's any bleeding anywhere. And then, of course, the other thing is elderly people, their blood vessels and things are more. The old thing, it's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring, he bumped his head, went to bed, and didn't get up in the morning.
Right, yeah.
Okay, that's what that's about. That's about head injuries in the elderly, causing bleeding in the skull. That's slow bleeding and builds up over time. You have to pay attention and monitor the person, to make sure they're not getting in trouble. And so that's why sometimes if a kid's had a head injury, we'll say, well, yeah, let them go to sleep, but wake them up every hour or two.
Oh, just to make sure they're.
Make sure they're with the program.
Right. Okay. Yeah, That makes sense. Now, who was it that didn't get up in the morning? I forgot that nursery rhyme.
It's the old rain is pouring, the old man is snoring. The old man.
Old man is snoring. Went to bed, bumped his head, didn't get up in the morning.
He bumped his head, went to bed, didn't get up in the morning.
Because he was dead.
Yeah. He wasn't coming down for breakfast.
No, he wasn't coming down for breakfast ever again.
Yeah.
Poor old man. See, people don't know that's how the nursery rhyme ended, and probably a good thing too.
Yeah, well, that's like a lot of those nursery rhymes, like ring around the rosy, pockets full of posy.
Right.
That's all related to bubonic plague.
What? Is that right?
Yeah, someone who has buboes, those were considered the rosies, So you're ringing, and so supposedly there was some myth that sometimes carrying posies would help protect you from the virus.
Really?
So ring around the rosy, pockets full of posy, ashes, we all fall down.
Really?
That's related to bubonic plague.
Where do the ashes come from?
I don't know what that's all about. That may be, I don't know.
That's from the cremation.
Could be.
If you get the bubonic plague. See, these, I didn't know all of these nursery rhymes are rooted in health emergencies.
Some of them are.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of those things. A lot of those things. Don't forget, people were illiterate.
Yeah, right.
Largely uneducated, and the way to communicate things to people, and especially the children, was through songs and nursery rhymes and all those things. A lot of those things were not initially nursery rhymes; they were kind of communications to the public in general.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You learn something new every single day.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. 9:44 right now. Dr. John Garofalo, our guest. All right, I've got a question here on the text. I've got to get to that first. Then, if you're posting on Facebook, I will get to that too here in just a minute. Let me see which one it is. Ask the good doc. Can you get coronavirus again if you already got it and recovered?
Short answer is no one knows for sure.
Okay.
It depends. The problem is we know that antibody levels will drop eventually.
Right.
Okay. And of course the problem with antibodies, but that doesn't mean you're now susceptible again. Because what happens when your body responds to an infection? The initial response is to make what we call IgM.
Yep.
Which is easy to make and rapidly made, and as initial response. Then your body switches over to making IgG.
Now what
immunoglobulin M, and immunoglobulin G, and those are made in different lymphocytes. And what happens is a certain bunch of lymphocytes form a clone of antibody producing cells for that particular infection.
Yep.
And then after you get over the infection, antibody levels will be maintained for a while. But then what happens is they drop off, and that line of cells becomes, for lack of a better term, quiescent or quiet. Just kind of goes into hibernation. But when you get exposed again, that IgG line of cells will get reawakened quickly and will quickly go back to producing antibodies again. In most cases, what we don't know for sure is whether it's going to work that way for COVID or not.
Okay, all right.
We just don't know that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the flu would be a good example of antibodies that once they're gone, you have to replenish them with a new flu shot, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's two problems with the flu. Number one is it's not clear that those antibodies last. Okay. Or form a clone that's reproduced. The other thing is that the antigens on the flu change every year.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
Remember,
of
we
course.
talked about the H1N1 and the H and the N.
Yep.
And so every year it's kind of a guess of which H and N is going to be around.
Mm.
And because they don't last forever, that's why we have to worry about different flu shots every year.
Whatever the new strain is. Now, I've heard that the flu shot can be as little as 40% effective in a given year.
Well, remember, we usually have an H and an N for how am I going to break this out? We're immunizing against two things: influenza A, influenza B, and then we usually try to guess whether it's say H1N1 and H4N3 on the other one.
Wow.
So if we only get 3 of those right, then we only got half of the stuff right for influenza B. Well, then it's only going to be that one particular vaccine will only be 50% effective.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But it will be, but the total shot would be then 75% effective because we got the one completely right. And then you get combinations of, how do you suppose we get half wrong on 2 of them, on 1 on each. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Suppose we get totally wrong on 1 and half wrong on another. Well, then that gets you down only 25% effective.
Right. Wow. There's a lot. This is way beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing that they can foresee is probably the most, prevalent flu strain every year. It does amaze me. And I haven't had the flu. I get the flu shot every year. And by the way, now that we're in October, now is probably a great time to get a flu shot, correct?
Yeah, about the middle of October.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm getting mine the end of this week.
Okay, yeah.
And my wife and I are going to go get our flu shots. But, this next week is good. Or even as long as you get it by the end of October.
Okay.
Reason being is that the immunity from a flu shot takes about 2 weeks to build up. We usually see our first peak of the flu here around Thanksgiving, beginning of December, and then again around Christmas time, and that's when people are moving around. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why those kind of the things. But then we usually get another peak way back, toward the end of February or March. And so that's why you want to get it at least by the beginning of November, so you're immune by the time it would be getting here.
Okay.
That's not to say it never shows up earlier, but I'm just saying.
Right. So, but it does wear out after 4 or 5 months, right? Basically,
it's good for about 6 months.
6 months.
So
okay.
That's why you want to wait until toward the end of October, toward the middle or end of October, because then what happens? That gets you through March. You're talking November, December, January, February, March, and part of October. That gets you, that gives you a full 6 months of coverage.
Why does the flu only come around during this time of year, fall, winter?
Good question. Don't know.
Don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
I think probably because we're indoors.
Oh, well, okay,
We're
yeah.
more, people are more concentrated and
Yeah.
close to each other.
Okay, that makes sense. Now,
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that would make any sense to me. But
yeah. Now, for those who don't, now I just want to see if I've got this right. The flu shot will not give you the flu. However, some people could have some symptoms of, from a flu shot as a result of a flu shot, right?
Yes.
Not flu symptoms.
Because, again, remember what you're getting in a flu shot is some of the antigens, some of the parts of the flu, so that your body can make antibodies against the entire virus. Okay, and of course we don't know which one of those things causes a fever, which one of those causes a body ache. So giving you those things, and there's some speculation that some of the symptoms of the flu are due to our antibody response.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, in terms of the fatigue and the aching, just like you get this hyperimmune response.
Yeah.
That then causes problems with COVID. Well, the immune response to other things can cause some problems too.
Okay.
So
it's yeah. But you're going to be worse off with the flu than you are from any symptoms from the flu shot.
Yeah, the flu can kill you. The reaction, unless you got one of the really severe idiosyncratic reactions that you can get to any vaccine, flu or otherwise.
And there's always a chance of that for somebody.
There's always a chance of that.
Yeah.
Nothing in the world is. Getting out of bed in the morning is totally safe.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. There's inherent risk in just about everything we do.
Yeah, there's some risk in everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But certainly the risk of dying from the flu is far greater than the risk of any problem from the flu shot itself.
Yeah, the flu can be very, very deadly, and a flu shot, a few aches and pains. If I am one of the few or however many suffer from aches and pains as a result of the flu shot, certainly that it beats having the flu and getting deathly ill and maybe dying for it, as many people do every year in this country.
That's correct.
So now we don't have a lot of time left, but we did want to bring up Donald Trump and his positive coronavirus test, and I wanted to I picked up a little something that I hadn't before that I just want to hit on real quick. But first of all, he was diagnosed last week or within the last week and a half, and now he's back at work at the White House. But the danger isn't over, correct?
That's correct.
We know it isn't because we've seen longer term effects, like Herman Cain was diagnosed and a month later he passed.
Yeah. Well, that's true. No, the big thing is, especially in the elderly, there seems to be this biphasic response, meaning two phases of reaction to COVID infection. There's the initial reaction from which you may start to feel better. And then as your body responds, you get this, the hyperimmune response can do further damage and also provide further avenues for the virus to reproduce and get worse. The other thing that seems to be part of the problem is the more exposed you get, the more virus you're exposed to, the greater the risk. And so that's why we always say, it's got to be 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, if you now have a negative test, you're out of the woods.
Okay.
But not until then. And so there is a possibility that he could get sicker again. I'm not saying that he will. I'm not saying that.
Right.
Would staying in the hospital change that? No.
Right.
Because he's getting all the drugs that would do anything to prevent that.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to mention about is, you remember they talked about how they were giving him this experimental antibody treatment?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was the one we talked about several weeks ago that I said it looked like somebody that hadn't been tested yet.
Right.
The antibodies, that it's actually like giving immune serum from an individual who had COVID.
Right. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And that's what he got. That's one of the things he got. See, and so of course, now there's the rub. So it hasn't been tested. It hasn't been tested for either we know we know in mice and other things it'll bind the virus and help destroy the virus.
Right.
But we don't know. So we presume it has efficacy, but we don't know whether it's safe. Is it going to? Would that antibody treatment also trigger this hyperimmune response?
Interesting. This is interesting. And so the president is being used for like a trial.
Well, he's, I mean, basically he probably took the approach of whatever.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I can't be sick kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely.
And, there it is.
Now, somebody brought up, and I hadn't noticed this. I watched the video again this morning of when he was on the whatever it was on the deck or whatever. The deck is probably not a deck on a White House. It's like an alcove or something.
It's a portico.
Portico. And he was waving and saluting. And it was pointed out that it looked like he was having trouble breathing. And I pushed that aside at first. Then I watched the video again. And it did look like he might be having trouble breathing.
He was short of breath after going up those stairs.
Yeah. But he had been there. He had been up there, though. And
I know. But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, you or I might get short of breath going up those stairs, but we certainly would have recovered by the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But and the fact that he wasn't well, is that age dependent? I mean, don't forget the guy is
74 years old.
Yeah, 74 years old. So,
yeah.
I mean, is that age dependent? I get short of breath chasing my granddaughter across the floor.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Believe me.
But is that age dependent, or is it evidence that he had a pneumonitis and a pneumonia from the COVID?
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. Wow.
I think there is some concern that we don't know what the real circumstances are at this point.
Right.
That's
yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah. Of course, we're not going to hear the whole story. I mean, nobody knows except those.
There's a lot of precedent for it. I mean, look what happened with Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Wilson had a stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was basically non-compos mentis for a month or so.
Yeah. Nobody knew.
And nobody knew.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that and I get that, because that's except for a president being assassinated like Kennedy was, then they certainly try to hide a president being disabled in any way.
Yeah.
Not to send fear into the public or other countries either. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, some people argue that Wilson, because that was a time after and during the World War, that blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, but so what? I mean, but it's interesting that even at the time of Nixon and Eisenhower, when Eisenhower had to have his surgery, didn't he have to have colon surgery or something? I can't remember what it was. Anyway, gallbladder surgery.
Yep.
Is that what it was? Anyway, he was going in to have surgery. There's all this stuff about the succession and transfer of power.
Oh yeah.
None of that's in the Constitution.
Right.
That was all determined then. It was right after he had made a deal with Nixon about if at some point here's a letter of what I want to happen if I'm not able to carry out my duties, and because Nixon was Eisenhower's VP, and then it was after that they finally delineated the Transfer of Powers Act, who takes power when. But the other thing that's interesting is we don't have any law about it, which is going to be very interesting if something happens, is what happens in terms of the election. Does that mean that...
Right.
Obviously, if something happened between Trump, between now and inauguration, which is in January.
Right.
Okay. Then Pence would move up to being president.
Right.
But what happens to the election? If something happens to Trump
before the election,
before the election,
that's a good question. I've thought about that. I have thought about that, and I don't know. Trump is the nominee, and there's no succession of who the next Republican nominee would be. That's a very interesting question.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that the other thing that people don't understand is, in order, people are worried about, well, what happens if Pence gets sick? Well, here's the deal: as soon as Pence becomes president, he is obligated to try to appoint a vice president.
Right, exactly. Otherwise,
the only time it moves directly to the Speaker of the House is something that happened to both the president and the vice president at the same time.
Right, and they've already talked about a President Pelosi on the news. I've heard it. I said, what?
No. They're jumping the gun here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They tend to do that. Yeah.
But all this stuff, and it's part of the reason I've thought about this stuff is because from a medical standpoint, how do you decide when someone's incapable of performing their duties?
No, that's also a good. Who makes the decision?
Who makes the call?
I mean, when Reagan went in for surgery, if the president, there is, I don't know. I think I read it one time. The president can write a note or something handing power over to the vice president if they're able and they're conscious. But yeah.
And I think in the Transfer of Powers Act, if Congress can demonstrate that the president is no longer competent, that they can cause power to be transferred to the vice president. But just like trying to declare any human being not competent to make their own decisions for themselves, that's difficult.
Yeah,
not an easy thing to do. And so how do you do that? How do you what a can of worms.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, hopefully we don't see that, but
I'm not wishing anything on anybody.
Right.
I'm saying.
Somebody asked how come we haven't heard how Melania is doing, and I don't know. How come we haven't heard? I have no idea.
Can't answer that question.
Yeah.
The other thing is, one other thing is I wanted to say is that some people feel like that the doctors were dissembling, but we don't know what Trump said to them.
Right.
Okay. Don't forget, there is such a thing called HIPAA.
Yes, there is. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter whether you're a public figure or not.
Right.
The HIPAA law is very clear. Unless I have permission as a member of the treatment team,
right,
to divulge from the person to divulge information about them, I cannot do it.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm trying to give. I mean, if he really was dissembling on his own, then that's really a violation of his.
Yeah.
His duties as a physician.
Very true.
But for all we know, Trump told him, he said, just go and tell him I'm sick. That's all you can tell him.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so before anybody takes him out to hang him in effigy too, let's find out what the facts are.
Right. Exactly. And HIPAA, by the way, is HIPAA, right?
Health information. No.
HIPPA?
HIPPA. Health Information Privacy and Portability Act.
Okay. All right. I've seen people spell it different ways. That's good to know what the acronym stands for. It's
the Health Information Privacy and Portability Act. And people forget there's the privacy part of it and the portability part of it. In other words, to be able to transfer information from one place to the other.
Right.
A lot of people get hung up on the thing like someone's in the emergency room. There are still places who won't share information until they have a release from the patient. Well, the guy's comatose. We're part of his treatment team now. You are covered to be able to provide me with information about the patient. But that's where the portability part comes in.
Okay, so let me get this straight. And thank you. Ken says thank you for your advice, by the way. And he says watch the time. We are running very late here, but I'm
sorry.
But no, it's not your fault. I do have one more question about that. Now, are you saying if a person is unconscious, you can provide information, or do you still need permission from
No. I can't. I'd have to have, if someone had power of attorney or something, power of attorney and told me I could share information, I could. But if someone's comatose, the only people I could share to is their immediate family.
Okay, I see. I see.
Or whoever would be the next decision-making person.
I see.
In other words, if I have in the absence of a living will, you go to the spouse or whatever, and you can get them to make you can let them help you make decisions if they know. But then if they don't know, if they say to you, well, we've never really discussed it, then they're out of the loop too.
I know how important that is to people in the medical profession. My wife, Marianne. Marianne's an RN, and somebody will see her at the VA, and they'll say hi to John, and she says, I can't even tell him I saw you unless you give me permission. And
right.
So that's a lot of people would say, well, I'm your husband, you can tell me. No, she won't. She will not. And I get that. I respect that fully. And so that's what makes it very interesting. People, the medical profession really sticks by that, as they should. And that's a comforting thing to know. And we are out of time, Doctor. We're in overtime now, but that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We're so profound and illuminating that I think it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, somebody just said they heard that Melania was asymptomatic, which people often are with COVID. Listen, sir, I appreciate your time.
All right. More than welcome to do it.
And I look forward to talking with you again next week, and we'll get more questions, more answers, and we'll hopefully feel a little bit more secure in our physical beings as we learn more about what we should and should not be alarmed by.
Correct.
And thank you for your advice.
Oh, anytime. And as always, be well and be respectful out there.
Sure will. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Take care.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Dr. John Garofalo, recently retired PCP and ER doc, and with us every Wednesday morning at 9:30. You have questions, you can send them ahead of time, send them a week ahead of time. I don't care. Send them to me in a private message on Facebook. And he's more than happy to answer any questions he can and give you advice if he doesn't have an answer based on your, what you say your problem is. He can certainly recommend you get to somebody really soon, if not sooner, if it sounds like it could be serious. Thank you very much again, Dr. G, and we'll talk to him next week. We'll be back with more right after the news. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like a perfectly cooked meal from the microwave. Will it be hot or will it be cold? There's only one way to find out. But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore & Sons, outdoor power equipment.
And our next item up for bid is...
Does it ever feel like Washington, D.C. is turned into one big auction?
We'll be starting the bidding at $400,000.
Senators and congressmen working more for the special interests than the people who sent them there.
At $500,000 now.
Take Susan Collins. She's taken over $400,000 from pharmaceutical companies and voted to delay generic medication coming to the market, costing Mainers millions.
Thank you for the bid. $1 million. Can I get $1 million?
She's taken $1.2 million from insurance companies and voted 7 times to allow them to discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions.
Can I get $2 million? $2 million.
In total, Susan Collins has taken $6 million from corporate PACs, more than anyone in Maine's history. No wonder she voted to give corporations and the wealthy a $2 trillion tax break. Susan Collins.
Sold.
She's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills. We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your sideswipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Andrew Dimberg. Less than a month until the election, and President Trump has abruptly pulled out of talks on a coronavirus stimulus relief bill. ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega.
The president's position became even more confusing overnight as he suggested that he would be willing to sign a bill that would provide another round of checks to Americans struggling during this pandemic. But Democrats have said they don't want to do this in a piecemeal way. They're looking to do a broader deal. So we're a little bit of a standoff here on where things stand.
Yesterday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said there's a real risk of recession if people and businesses don't get more help. The first and only vice presidential debate to be held tonight in Salt Lake City, with 24 people connected to the White House testing positive for the coronavirus. Democratic nominee Kamala Harris has asked that plexiglass be placed between her and Vice President Pence. It'll be there this evening. Hurricane Delta making landfall in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 2 storm. This is ABC News. Facebook going after QAnon in a big way, announcing it is banning all groups and pages connected to the conspiracy theory. ABC Chief Business and Technology Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis.
They're saying that they have taken down at least 1,500 pages already, that they will continue to take this content off the platform. However, if you are an individual posting about QAnon, the policy does not ban you from doing that.
Trouble in Texas for Netflix over one of its shows.
Netflix is being charged with promoting lewd material involving children. This over the award-winning French film Cuties, which debuted on the streaming service last month. A grand jury in Tyler County, Texas, returned the indictment, which says the film depicts the private areas of minors in a way that has no serious artistic value. Critics have said the film encourages the sexualization of children. The filmmakers have long said it's actually a commentary on the dangers children face. And Netflix reiterated that Tuesday while saying the charge is without merit and it stands by the film. Jason Nathanson, ABC News.
Andrew Dimber, ABC News.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, traffic has been crazy lately, right? And rush hour? Forget it. Nobody wants to let you merge onto the highway. But hey, somebody let you merge or you wouldn't be there, so drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Pros today have to do whatever the job calls for, and the Home Depot is here to help make that easier. With a wide range of delivery options, you can get what you need, from job lot quantities to small supply runs, delivered where and when you need it. Don't want to buy the tool? Rent it. We've got the most innovative products and more ways for pros to find them, in-store and online. Pros are changing, so are we. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
And now, live from the Legacy 1160 WSKW studios in Maine's capital, here's the man that commands attention, not because he's important or smart, but because he believes in the Second Amendment and PAX 24/7. Here's the always well-armed John James.
Welcome back. 10:16, ran a little late with Dr. G, but that's okay. Stuff you need to hear, stuff you learn. I learn something every week. I like to ask curious questions. You hear things all your life, and these aren't things you think to ask your doctor about when you're in the office. This is one good thing. One of the perks, I think, of having a doctor on the air every week, you can ask curious questions, things you've heard. We've learned a lot about hypothermia and the bang in the head and not going to sleep. I mean, this is stuff that's good to know. But anytime you smack your head and you have any symptoms at all, whether it's loss of control or you want to go to sleep, I mean, there you go. I mean, there's a perfect instance where you don't want to play, Mr. Toxic masculinity and say, I don't know, going to the doctor. You hear these people say, I haven't been to a doctor a day in my life, and then they drop dead. And you hear that after somebody dies. Oftentimes, you say they were healthy as a horse. They didn't go to a doctor a day in their life, which is not a good thing. I mean, it's great you're healthy. But there's a little thing called a physical that you do. I can't say as I do it as often as I should. I don't even know now if I could get in for a physical because I don't know where doctors are, and especially my doctor is now working. He's a local PCP, but he's also working for CMMC. And I don't even know. I've got to call him, I guess. I'm due for a physical. And, I always like to find out how, especially when you get a little older, you want to find out. And I don't mean to sound like I'm Joe Biden or anything. But not that Joe Biden is unhealthy. I think he's got some cognitive issues going on. I think everybody sees that, as we will point out here in just a little while on the show. But we need to know, our vital signs. We need to have the blood work done. All of this can be indicative of something that we've got to watch. And maybe you haven't been sick a day in your life, but maybe you are, pre-diabetes or something. And this is stuff you need to know, because you can be healthy as a horse every day in your life, never once been to a doctor as an adult, and boom, too late. So we'll talk next time. If I remember to do it, we'll talk about the importance of physicals and some of the things. Just a basic physical can show. The blood work can just the blood work alone is worth the price of admission. Because that can tell you if you have something to watch. Because it checks your blood count, it checks for antibodies. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I'm a medical doctor. So I live with a nurse. I don't know everything she knows. So she's more apt to tell me, well, you better go to a doctor. When she says you better go to a doctor, that usually is the impetus I need to go to the doctor. But she knows a heck of a lot more than I do. And personally, I just really don't have that big an interest in the medical field. And you don't have to in order to be concerned with your physical condition. I mean, this is all we've got right here. 1020 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. So we're moving into phase 4 now in Maine. And not soon enough, in my humble opinion. But, it is what it is. This announcement made by, I almost said President Mills. Lord have mercy. Janet Mills says we're moving into phase 4. And what does that mean? In case you missed it, let me go over it real quick here. This from the Portland Press Herald. It's phase 4 reopening coronavirus pandemic. What does that mean? Well, mostly it means restaurants, bars, and tasting rooms are going to be affected, mostly. Now, we talked about this the other day, how restaurants, despite the fact they have been able to reopen for indoor dining, their ability to serve people has literally been at least halved, which is not good for the restaurants. It's not good for the wait staff. I would assume most of the kitchen staff that has been hired, some haven't been hired back because they don't need a big staff. They need basically half the staff. Now, I imagine some of the people in the back of the house are on salary or something, but they probably aren't working as much as they have been anyway. Well, it's not going to change a lot. It'll change some, though. Now, all establishments, whether they're bars, restaurants, or any place indoors where people are primarily sitting, like a church or theater, are limited to 50% capacity or 100 people, whichever is lower. Whichever is lower. So what they're trying to do with this is, I get the mechanics of it. It's all about the social distancing. So if you've got a little restaurant, like take, for example, Bee's Snack Bar in Winslow. They're a very small restaurant. And I honestly don't know what their seating capacity is. I've seen, I think of other small restaurants like that sprinkled throughout central Maine, because there are a lot of small, great restaurants that don't seat that many people. So if they can seat, say, 25, they're only allowed to have 12 people inside. They can't have 100, or they can't have capacity, even though 100 people is the limit. They are only allowed to have 50% because that number is lower than 100 people. So it's still going to be a huge struggle. Until when? Until when? Now, bars and tasting rooms still aren't going to be able to open for another month. November 2nd. Restaurants can have more people starting October 13th. Now, I'm still confused, and I have been since March when this all started. I am still confused as to what separates a bar from a restaurant, because most bars serve food. What is the criteria? Now, I do know some bars that serve nothing more than drinks and snacks. Those undoubtedly are bars, just bars. But there are other primarily bars. In fact, they call themselves bars. I think of the Temple Street, well, it used to be I almost said Joker's. Used to be, that's where Damon's is, in Waterville. I can't, Gubby Carter owned it in Waterville. Why am I forgetting the name of the bar? The Bob Inn. It's Temple Street Bar now, I think. So that's I imagine is closed. I've got a friend in Millinocket that owns a bar right on Katahdin Avenue, whatever the route number is there, right on the main road, right where the Chinese restaurant and the Pomola Inn is. Is that what it is? Pomola, is that what it is? Pomola? Yeah, that's a Pomola Inn. He can't open because he is just a bar. Although you can get food at the Chinese restaurant right upstairs and you can bring it down, he's a bar, so he can't open. And now he can't open until November 2nd. And even then, he can only be at half capacity, and it's not a big place. Bars will be expected to enforce rules that will make the bar experience more like going to a restaurant. So here's the deal. Here is the edict. No mixing with large crowds of people you don't know. Now, excuse me, but isn't that why people go to a bar? Isn't that what the allure of a bar is? You go to bars, you meet people. You have a couple of drinks, you meet people. You talk and you... I mean, what's that going to look like? I don't. You know what? I think it's going to look like it always has, unless there's somebody policing it and saying, "Do you know this guy? Do you know this?" How are they going to know? For one thing, number one, and number two, what are the consequences to the bar going to be if they deduce that somebody is talking to somebody they don't know, they just met, and they're talking with them? Now what? Now what? Is the bar going to lose its license? Well, given what happened to Rick Savage at Sunday River, probably. He opened. He wasn't supposed to open. That was certainly going a little bit further than it would be, cavorting with other people who you don't know in a place that is open legally. But Rick Savage's licenses were pulled. His liquor license, his license to serve food. I don't know whatever happened with that, how much it cost him, if everything is back to reasonably normal as they can be. I don't know. But think about the implications of all of this for a minute. Now, Alany, I know you're in Florida, and I think you're pretty open there. Megan in New York, I know New York City is still pretty much shuttered. I don't know if the edict is the same for the entire state or not. But think of the implications of this. We all say, and we all feel the same way, this is taking our freedom away. This is not freedom. When we're told what we must do, or we are going to be fined, or we are going to be arrested, we're going to get a criminal record, maybe? What does all of this mean? Well, they're going to take away my freedom, but they have. They've taken away your freedom. They've taken away my freedom. What? This is scary. This is a creeping edict. And don't think the rug's not going to be pulled out from under us at some point if things start to creep back up. Now, notice we don't have many deaths in the state. We hear a lot of new cases. We hear of no new deaths. It happens a lot. When we do hear of a new death, sadly, it's somebody who is elderly. But we all have to pay the price when we know who is at highest risk. So here we are in a society that has been closed in some places more than others, but is still being controlled by the government. What are we to do? Well, we're going to fight it. Well, how? Unless everybody, and that's what it would take. It would take literally everybody to say, we aren't going to take this anymore. And then start to go about life more normally. Now, I'm not saying don't wear masks, don't social distance when it's appropriate, but to just say you're going to do this and this and this, and you can't do this and this and this. You can only have 100 people at the church service or 50%, whichever is a lower number, unless the businesses, the churches, the people say no more of this and go back to life as normal. You have got to get a huge contingent of people to be on board with you in order to usurp the edict from the governor or from whoever is issuing the edict, whether it's a mayor, a governor, the police. I mean, these are nonviolent crimes, right? These are nonviolent crimes, going to a restaurant, cavorting with people we don't know, not wearing a mask. Now, the government will tell you they are violent crimes. There is a victim. The victim is somebody who could get COVID-19. Well, okay then. Why don't we shut everything down during flu season? Because many of us could be carriers of the flu or a cold or a virus that can easily spread. Well, but COVID-19 is more deadly. To who? We know to who. We know who COVID-19 is most deadly to. And it's horrible. It's sad. But why make the entire populace suffer when we know so much more about it, and there is better treatment for COVID-19? When Donald Trump came out the other day and said, we can't fear this, he may be scared to death. I wouldn't doubt that he is. He did look like he had trouble breathing. When I went back and looked at the video of him on that portico, it looked like go back and watch it when he was up there when he took the mask off. And maybe that's why he took the mask off. If you're having trouble breathing, a mask is not going to make breathing easier. But he said, don't let fear of the virus control you. He was right. He was right. But that's not what a large segment of our government wants. A large segment being mostly the control freaks, the left, who wants us to fear it. They want to strike fear into us. And this isn't the first time. Fossil fuels. What are they doing to the kids? What are they doing to many Americans? They are striking fear in us. So this is not a unique circumstance of the government trying to cause fear in the populace. You don't vote for somebody who is on board with a Green New Deal and eliminating fossil fuels and in the process destroying our economy, then you're going to die. Now tell me that's not fear. Tell me that's the same people who want to let criminals out of jail. These are the same people who want to let criminals who kill people, who rape people. This is the same group that wants to let and does let these people out of jail. The Biden campaign, Kamala Harris, bailing rioters out of jail so they could reoffend over and over again. I was reading a story yesterday. A guy was let out of jail. He was allowed bail. And he killed somebody. This was in California. I saw it. Maybe you saw it. It was posted all over Facebook yesterday. So how do you know whether it's a true threat to a mass number of people, or it's just control and power. How do you know? Well, look at the numbers. Look how many fewer people are dying. Look at the ages of people who are dying. I'm never going to say social distancing and masks don't help. I am not going to go that route, because if you can save a life, if I can say, if I'm going to be in a small confined space, and my wife reminds me of this all the time. You know, she says, you've got grandkids. I've got one grandkid who has, underlying conditions. And she says, you got grandkids. You've got one on the way. So I get it. I do get it. But the power and the control that the government is exerting on us is beyond the pale. It borders on corruption. And look at the people whose lives are literally ruined. Not just older people. I would go so far as to say most of the people who are suffering and dying and losing their lives through whatever source, whether it's suicide, alcoholism, drug abuse, domestic violence, most of those people are in the younger part of our demographics. But still, none of that seems to be mattering to the people in power. Gyms. This is our fourth phase now. Gyms must still abide by the rule of no more than 50 people, because heavy exertions such as exercising and singing. Do you sing in a gym? I don't sing in a gym. They've been linked to the increased likelihood of spreading COVID-19 via airborne transmission. Businesses are expected to enforce mask wearing in Maine's more populous cities. They were, but now it's all over the state. T2R6, wear a mask. Portland, South Portland, wear a mask. Fort Kent, wear a mask. T3R2, wear a mask. You're near a moose, you're near a deer, wear a mask. Walking in the woods, wear a mask. What about the ticks? Don't worry about the ticks. Wear a freaking mask. You don't want to make the ticks sick with COVID. State has also extended the mask wearing mandate to private schools and municipal buildings. Now, I would think a municipality could do that pretty well if they wanted to. But the governor has decided that, nope, not going to leave it up to the municipalities. We're going to decide right here in Augusta, and you must abide by it. Got to take a break here. Running a little late this morning. I apologize for that, but it was good to have the doctor here for overtime. Stick around. Question 621-9759. Line is open. You can also call. Lines are open. 207-441-6969. You want to text. I'm John James.
WSKW, Central Maine's Heritage Station.
Feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff day after day? Now that we can finally get out and do a little shopping, why not head over to Town Line Antiques? At Town Line Antiques, there's 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and a lot more. Get away from it all with a look to the past. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Hi, my name is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford, and we want to buy your car. An unexpected situation created by this pandemic is that there is a nationwide shortage of inventory. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that the vehicle you own has never been worth more. In some cases, your vehicle is worth retail book value. I have never seen anything like it. So, If you need some extra cash or a lower payment, there has truly never been a better time to sell or trade your vehicle. If I was a consumer, I would sell high on my trade while buying low and cashing in on 0% interest and manufacturer's rebates. This is not a gimmick. This is real talk. Don't wait. Call us at 594-4466 today for a free purchase offer, or visit us at rocklandford.com.
This is Bill Green. Growing up in Maine, I've always been proud of our senators on both sides of the aisle. And I'm especially proud to know Susan Collins. In times of crisis, she's displayed courage and integrity, whether it was reforming our intelligence community after 9/11 or fighting the pandemic today. Susan is a problem solver. She's at the center of nearly every common sense solution that makes our government work better. And while Susan hasn't changed, politics sadly has. This year, Mainers have suffered through the most expensive negative campaign in our history, with $40 million being spent by out-of-state groups trying to buy our vote. We know Susan, and we know what they're saying just isn't true. So don't let out-of-state bullies with big checkbooks buy Maine's Senate seat. This is Bill Green. I trust Susan Collins because she is from, of, and for the people of Maine, always.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senate.
If you're a service technician looking for a career opportunity with great pay and benefits, and you have the experience, qualifications, and the drive to succeed, then call Bob's Cash Fuel in Madison. They want to talk to you. Starting out with just one truck for deliveries in 1981, they've grown into a locally owned and operated full-service company, offering experience and a staff of trusted, loyal professionals. Bob's Cash Fuel offers heating oil, kerosene, diesel, gasoline, propane, and 24-hour emergency service for heating, cooling, and delivery. And their new app allows you to order fuel from your phone, check account information, delivery status, make a payment, and more. Just download the app from the App Store. They can also prepare you for the hot weather with a Mitsubishi cooling and heating system featuring EcoComfort technology that lets you control each room individually, and it can be installed in less than a day with no ductwork. Get your Mitsubishi heating and cooling system professionally installed from Bob's Cash Fuel. To heat or cool and propane too, call Bob's Cash Fuel 696-3040 or visit online at bobscashfuel.com. Bob's Cash Fuel is an equal opportunity employer.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Your pep rally for freedom is back, powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey, welcome back. How you doing? Melanie just asked me if the guy that was released with these stupid bail requirements was the same guy that was released, and the person he was after. Wait a minute. I'm trying to find the story on that guy, because and the comparison I made was that we want to keep everybody safe. We want to keep everybody safe in the name of public health, because we don't want grandma to die. And I don't want anybody to die. We're all going to die, right? I mean, that's the human condition. Hold on, got to close the door. So, but the left doesn't, they seem to have some kind of an aversion to locking up criminals now. And it's kind of scary. Wait a minute. I think I remember where. Oh, by the way, I do want to play a song this morning in memory. I like to play songs in memory. No, I can't find it. I don't remember who posted it now, but this guy was in California. Guy was let out of jail on bail. Violent guy, and he killed somebody. Oh, guess what? Now he's back in jail. Well, they let him out again. They've let some very violent people back out of jail, and they've gone on and they've reoffended in a much bigger way than their first offense, oftentimes, by the way. We've got a 1046 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. I told you I had a list of Donald Trump's accomplishments compiled by Sean Hannity. And I just want to go through them. Not that I need to make a case for Donald Trump, but I was just amazed at all the different things. And I remember hearing about each of these individually, but had never seen them compiled. And the list is exhaustive. I'm going to read you a few of the things. More than 2 million jobs created. Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. Of course, Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. Now maybe Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court. Wow. How many judges on the circuit courts has he installed? On the 9th Circuit Court. Wow. 5-year lobbying ban. Exited the Paris Accord. The left will tell you all of this stuff is horrible because their religion is climate change. Signed a trade deal with China. Jerusalem recognized as Israel's capital. Victims of immigration crime engagement. There has been reform, prison reform. There's been money given to, and I don't see that on the list, to historically black colleges. Withdrew from the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Designated North Korea a terrorist state. ISIS lost virtually all of its territory. Signed 130 bills into law. Women in Entrepreneurship Act. Unemployment rate at a 17-year low. I mean, I'm not going to go on, but that's just an example. And now, and by the way, he was on defense for all 4 years. All 4 years. And he did not flinch. Did not flinch. Most presidents who underwent what Donald Trump has undergone over the last 4 years would be a puddle on the floor. People would be wiping their feet on him if they had gone through what Donald Trump has gone through. But he was resolute. He was determined. And he got more done playing defense than others have gotten in recent history. And, far as I can remember, in 8 years without any investigations whatsoever. Because they walked the line. They towed the line. They were told it's a bad idea, and they got too much heat from the left or right. They backed down. Donald Trump, he knows what freedom is. He knows what America needs. He's been a citizen longer than he's been president. Most of these people in government have been in the government longer than they've been regular citizens. What does that tell you? They don't understand what it's like to be citizens. Donald Trump does. He's a citizen. He's a businessman. He is our president. He is your president. If you're a citizen of the United States, you can say he's not. You can deny him. That's your right. But he is your president. Now, who do we have to replace him? Perhaps, maybe creepy Uncle Joe, who cannot make a speech without help, without a teleprompter. He cannot stand on his own 2 feet. He cannot say things that don't offend somebody which the mainstream media ignores, he's raising eyebrows again. No, I'm not talking about the bit I played yesterday. This is new. He made remarks yesterday at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. He was making remarks. He closed his remarks by saying to the crowd, "The good news is for me. I'm here. The bad news is I'm coming back." He then spotted a gathering of young girls off to the side. So what did creepy Uncle Joe say then? Well, let's listen.
Good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too. So it's great to see you.
I want to see these beautiful young ladies dancing when they're 4 years older. Okay. All right. Then there was this eye-opener from September 15th, which you heard yesterday.
geez, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf.
Some blouse sequestered in my house because some black lady was able to stock the grocery shelves. I want to see these 4 young ladies dance and another 4 when they're 4 years older. Now, you're not going to hear that in many places. You might hear it on Tucker Carlson. You're not going to hear it on MSNBC or CNN or Nightly News or with whatever, Lester Holt, Nora O'Donnell, David Muir. You're not going to hear it there because they're on Joe Biden's side. They are part of Joe Biden's campaign. They are going to try to hide everything that is bad for creepy Joe Biden. Oh, and Joe, of course, he made this. He's sexist, he's racist, and here we've got another racist comment. You remember this one.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. All right. But Joe gets a pass. And don't even get me started on Tara Reid. Don't even get me started. We told you this yesterday. Tara Reid, the woman who accused Joe Biden of raping her back in the 90s when she worked for his campaign. She was on 60 Minutes telling her story. 60 Minutes Australia. Now, who do you think would be more interested in hearing Tara Reid tell her story? The United States of America, where Joe Biden is running for president, or Australia on the other side of the world? Why would Australia care? Why would people in Australia care? CBS does not want to hurt Joe Biden. Donald Trump's accusers, all day long, 60 Minutes, Nightly News, World News Tonight, The Today Show, everywhere you can imagine. Tara Reid, Australia. They say that media is not partisan. As Chuck Todd says.
And just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial point of view here on any of these newscasts on MSNBC in the daytime.
All right. Go, Chucky. Go, Chucky. Back with more. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Last year, the healthcare industry spent $500 million trying to influence Washington politicians, hiring over 2,000 lobbyists to make sure their corporations continue to make more while you're forced to pay more for your coverage. So it's no surprise that in Washington, they're moving backwards on access to quality, affordable healthcare. I'm Sarah Gideon, and as Washington fails, in Maine, we did something about it. Cracking down on companies who jack up prices, expanding access to generic medication, making sure that people with pre-existing conditions are guaranteed affordable coverage, and ensuring healthcare companies can't overcharge when you seek necessary care. I haven't taken a dime from drug and insurance companies in this campaign.
Hey, Facebook. Facebook and the Legacy page. Oh, have we even got up on the Legacy page yet? I'm not even sure we have. Mike's show was there. I don't think we got this show up on the Legacy page, but we will. We will do it right now. Oh, we've got a lot more to talk about. Joy Reid. Anybody who watches or has watched MSNBC's Joy Reid, either AM Joy or her new show, The Readout, knows that she hates Donald Trump. She says she hates Donald Trump. She says she hates him. She makes stuff up. She can't hide her disdain for him. And now she is not so transparently. Yes, that is correct. You are correct. I am correct. We will visit that coming up in the next hour. And let's see what else, what other little tidbits we have for you here. Russian documents. How about this? Have you heard about this? The Russian collusion documents. Whoa. October surprise anyone? Yes. Oh, this could be epic. Declassified and unredacted. All the dirt that is going to it's going to put Hillary Clinton and the Department of Justice right in the white-hot spotlight. What will this mean for the election? Well, hopefully good things. How much wrongdoing was there? Who really colluded with Russia? You know, the worst thing, the dumbest thing the Democrats could have done, and I think any Democrats would agree with this, who might be listening. Whoops, hold on. Any Democrats will probably agree with this. The dumbest thing they could have ever done was put Adam Schiff in charge of starting a Russia collusion investigation. Because, and I don't know if it was just Adam Schiff. I imagine it was a bunch of people, including the brains of the outfit, the squad. But that was the dumbest thing they could have done. Rather than letting sleeping dogs lie, they went right after that Russia collusion. Turns out, it seems, that all the colluding was done by Hillary Clinton and the DNC and the DOJ. And now we may find out how deeply it went. Supposedly, all the way up the line to Joe Biden, to Barack Obama. This is coming up. We will talk about this. And you think our mask mandates are bad? Have you heard about California's? Whoa. That's weird. It is weird. It would make you want to not, it would make you want to stay home. It would make you not want to go out to eat. Crazy. But that leftist tyrant there in California, Gavin Newsom, is just that. He is a Marxist, communist tyrant. And this will make you laugh. It makes me laugh because I'm not there. I don't have to deal with it. And you don't either unless you're in California. And Michelle Obama. Oh, God bless her. Yeah, she's made a statement. She's released a statement excoriating the president, building up Biden, who her husband didn't even want to endorse, but had to because, well, he's the nominee. He had to reluctantly endorse Joe Biden. So stick around. This is all coming up, and thank you for being on the feed here. Back in just 30 seconds.
Pro Extra is the Home Depot's free loyalty program built for pros. Members earn perks just for shopping, like new Pro Extra dollars or tool rental perks. Get exclusive benefits every day that save time and money. And here's an extra, $20 off your next in-store purchase of $200 or more, just for signing up. Want to save? Join Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Visit the Pro Desk in-store or at homedepot.com/Pro Extra for details.
Welcome to your Freedom Pep Rally with America's friendliest host, John James.
Hey, welcome back. 207-441-6969. Text line. Facebook, you can reach out on Facebook too. The page where it originates is my personal page, John J-O-N James. And that's the one I am checking on. I posted on my page this morning, I was talking about the documents that are about to be released, unredacted, by the way, declassified, which implicates Hillary Clinton and her band of merry people. I did see the phone. Wait with me for a minute here. I'll be right with you. We'll do the phone call first, so before we get into stuff here. How high is this? Is my liberal friend? How high is the stack of BS in your studio at this point, John? You send out as much false info as the drug-addled, dangerously desperate, infectious president. All right. Okay. Keep drinking the Kool-Aid, my friend. Hi, good morning. You're on with John.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Is this Megan?
It is.
Hey, how are things in New York this morning? You guys still have the lockdowns there like New York City has?
We don't, but they're reinstating lockdowns again.
Oh, they are reinstating them now in New York?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
There's a mass protest by a Jewish community in the Bronx, burning masks.
Wow.
Response.
There you go. So what are the regulations on like restaurants and things now where you are? You're in a more rural area.
I don't go out to eat, but I do know that this is the current restriction. So tier red is 25% capacity, 10 people max for worship.
How many people max?
10.
10?
10.
To worship?
Yes. In red areas. Mass gatherings prohibited. Only essential businesses open. Takeout only. And schools will be closed in tier red and orange.
Now, is it code red where you are?
I'm not sure. He hasn't released all the maps of what's going on here in the area. But tiers orange, worship, 33 capacity, 25 people max, 10 people max, indoors and outdoors.
Wow.
Closing, high risk, non-essential businesses, outdoor dining only, 4 people max per table. And yellow tier is 50% capacity for worship, 25 people max, indoor and outdoor. Businesses open, indoor and outdoor dining, 4 people per table max, and schools are open, but mandatory weekly testing of students and teachers, staff for in-person settings. DOH will set president by Friday. So I can tell you right now, when the 6 weeks is over, if they go to school in school for my daughter, she will not be going to school because they're not shoving a swab up her nose.
Interesting.
There's major protests going on in New York over it, and I can see, I foresee another mass exodus of people out of New York State.
People are leaving New York like crazy. They're going to Florida.
It's going to get worse again.
Wow.
But more people are going to leave.
Now, New York City must be code red, if that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's becoming mandatory now that you have to wear masks even outdoors.
Really?
Yes.
Now, does masks when you're near people or anytime you're outside your house?
Outside your house.
Are you kidding me? So
no.
If you're walking alone down the road, you have to wear a mask?
Yeah.
Now, what are the penalties if you don't, if the police get you?
I don't know the penalties for that, but if you do mass, they call gatherings, which is over 10 people, in red tier for worship, and 10 people mass outdoor and indoor for orange tier, and 25 people mass indoor and outdoor for gatherings. You'll get fined if you violate that now, $15,000.
$15,000.
Yeah.
Way to kick people when they're down.
Yeah.
Was there?
And the thing is, I looked at the data, John, and I looked at the chart, and there is no new hospitalizations. It is flattened. There's no new major death tolls from COVID. It's flattened.
It sounds like Mayor Cuomo is just a tyrant. And by the way, was he fined for the thousands of people he killed?
No, but I think he's fighting back because he's getting hammered hard. I mean, there's been calls for mass, bipartisan, independent investigations done on him for that.
Good.
And I know that there was a mass movement in Michigan, which is another state that was heavily affected.
Absolutely.
And now restrictions have been lifted because of it, because apparently it was worse in New York. I don't know if it happened in New York like it did in Michigan, but people weren't just getting sent to nursing homes that were testing positive for COVID from hospitals, but people who were from adult daycare and mental institutions were being put into nursing homes.
Wow.
Under the policy.
Well, I mean, they're both Democratic states. You've got you've got Governor, you've got Andrew Cuomo in New York and Gretchen Whitmer, another good solid Democrat there in Michigan.
Well, wow. I have 6 words. I already have a bunch of nicknames for all these people. AOC, Bill de Blasio, Cuomo, and I can't really repeat them on air, but let's just say they're colorful and they kind of fit them.
Yeah.
And it's a lot worse of a name than Fredo for Chris Cuomo.
Wow. You must be proud to have all those people in your state, huh?
Oh, I'm done. I can tell you as soon as I get my tax return, I'm gone.
Oh, is that right? So where you're leaving the state? Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Good.
I can't do it anymore. It's getting worse and worse every day that goes by. And now it's a constant everyday thing, throughout the day, almost from morning to night of hearing sirens on a more regular basis than it used to be. Because, I mean, I don't live in the best neighborhood, but like to hear sirens go off every couple of hours and, cop cars steam by. Are
there a lot of violence, a lot of shootings or anything like that in your neck of the woods there?
I haven't heard anything, but like I said, there's been a lot of destruction of property.
Oh boy, yeah.
Really towards conservatives, and attacks on conservatives. And like I stated a little while ago, 13-year-old kidnapping a 9-year-old right here in the complex I live in.
Yeah, that's right. You told me about that.
And it's getting worse every day that goes by. And I'm not going to say that I don't jump every time I hear a police siren now.
No, I'm sure you do. Absolutely, of course you do.
It was one night I got on edge because I heard cars revving up and down the street, and they were just literally going up and down the street, and they were honking their horn. And I'm like, is that almost like a call to others, that are trying to protest or riot in the area? I was on edge for at least 3 hours after that.
Yeah, because I mean, you've got COVID, of course. That's a huge deal. And now, there's the race riots going on. Now, is this still rearing? We're not hearing much about that right now on the national news. Do you hear much about it from the city? Is there still a lot of violence going on a nightly basis? Beyond the pale.
I imagine so, and I keep close tabs. I do listen to radio dispatch. For across the country, in particular areas. Mine in general. I also listen to all the places that these riots have been going on for some time, like Portland and everything. And let's just say there's been fishy activity popping up on the dispatch radio of fires or people going missing or arrests being made more than usual.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising.
And I don't know if you heard the news, but the DOJ right now has a live going on. There's going to be a release of information.
Oh yeah, the declassified documents.
Oh yeah, and apparently I've been following on Twitter. I heard about it last night, in fact, before the news even put it out, the mainstream media. And apparently, quote, has been stated because it deals with the risk of national security.
Really?
Which I find interesting, yeah.
Wow.
And then apparently a Trump sign went up in California. I don't know if you heard, overnight along the highway.
Now, where is this, in California?
Yeah, along highway, I believe it was 410.
Okay.
Similar to the Hollywood sign put up in the middle of the night.
Okay.
On the hillside along a highway.
Well, that's going to piss some people off.
Oh, they've already taken it down, but by 9 o'clock, by the time they got it down,
wow,
that hundreds of people probably already saw it.
Oh yeah,
it's already trending on Twitter.
Oh, is that right? I'll have to check that out. I'm not on Twitter that much. I've got to spend more time on Twitter. Well,
you get a lot of, believe it or not, you get a lot of news off of Twitter, more so than Facebook.
Yeah.
But I've learned that back a while ago, the drop that I followed of this, supposedly fringe group.
Right, right.
We don't use the signature, Q anymore. And it's easier to get by censorship, or if you don't have any memes or pictures associated with it.
With QAnon?
There's a lot of news, yes, that you get from Twitter through them.
Yeah.
And it's not, right fringe stuff that you can only get from searching on Tor. Some of it is like the pundit, U.S. Daily Mail, it's some pretty high up there news, but it's articles that would be censored on Facebook.
Oh yeah. It doesn't take much to get censored on Facebook. Well,
I follow the group of QAnon discussion. It's already been censored on Facebook. The group's been totally taken down.
Yeah, no surprise there. Well, listen, Megan, I'm going to let you go because I'm going to segue right into this declassified document story. And I appreciate your call. Was there's something else you wanted to say, or? Oh
no, just to let you know what's going on, because I know that a lot of this stuff is not being covered in mainstream news. Like I said, the whole re-lockdowns being established here in my state.
Wow,
it's not really getting the proper attention from the news, and we know why.
Yeah. Of course we do. Of course we know why. Because the powers that be don't want it to be big news, and neither do the news.
That was covered with the protest with the burning of masks.
Yeah.
Now, they set masks on fire in the middle of the road, but otherwise, peaceful. No people attacking cops, nothing. And I mean, it covered, there's a video on Twitter of it. It covered a whole intersection going down all those, 4 ways.
Right in the road.
For a block or 2.
Right in the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Blocked the entire road.
Yeah. It's all peaceful according to the news. All peaceful. You've got Andrew Cuomo and Don Lemon right there in New York. Oh, we were out eating on the sidewalk. Oh, it's all peaceful. Everything's nice.
Yeah, but our side it's not.
No, of course it's not.
We haven't done any violence towards anybody unless violence was put on upon us and in self-defense.
Well, listen, I appreciate your input as always, Megan. I really do, and I hope you have a great day.
I will try, and I will keep my ears and eyes open.
Please do. Please do. You're a super sleuth. You have a great day, my dear.
You too.
Bye, Megan.
Bye.
621-9759, 207-441-6969. So what about this document dump? Well, let's talk about it here. Last night, Donald Trump tweeted he has fully authorized total declassification. Why didn't he do this earlier? He's crazy like a fox. Total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the FBI's investigation into the Trump campaign and Hillary Clinton's private email server. That means you and I can judge for ourselves. He said, quote, I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the single greatest political crime in American history, the Russia hoax. Likewise, the Hillary Clinton email scandal. No redactions, exclamation point. His tweet was in response to a tweet by Real Clear Investigations journalist Paul Sperry. Sperry tweeted, when all the documents are finally declassified and all the redactions are removed from the reports, the nation will see that the FBI and CIA not only knew the Russia collusion allegations against Trump were a political dirty trick, but that they were in on the political dirty trick. Sperry's tweet came after Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe declassified handwritten notes from then CIA Director John Brennan after briefing then President Obama on an alleged plot by Clinton to distract the public from her use of a private email server by tying the Trump campaign to a Russia hack of the DNC emails. It was a diversion because she was completely guilty of this emails, and we will never, sadly, never know what innocent emails were on her private email server because she's Hillary Clinton. She doesn't have to abide by laws. Federal laws? No, don't worry. They can skate around federal laws because they're the Clintons. They are the poster child for political power. Private email server? No. No. Can't do it. Oh, but the Clintons did, and they can. In their own strange, warped minds, they justified it and destroyed. BleachBit is the name of the program. They used to destroy emails, and they smashed cellular phones with hammers. Oh, but you know what? You know what the beauty of this whole thing is? We've got the redacted documents coming out, declassified redacted documents, number one. And number two, somehow things that go out on the internet live forever somewhere. They've just got to be found. Somebody's got them. Somebody has got the dirt. Oh, mark my words. Somebody has got the dirt. I guarantee you, these emails in question, they all went out to people. They all went out to somebody. They didn't stay on her server. They were sent by somebody, and hers went to somebody or some people. When this whole thing broke, don't think for a minute that the person on the receiving end of some of these damning emails didn't say, I'd better hold on to these. This could make me famous. This could be my meal ticket. Don't think for a minute. Don't think for a minute they're gone. They can destroy, they can bleach bit, they can do everything they want to. But somebody, somewhere, some server has it all. And it may be spread out among different people, different servers. It's somewhere, and someday, somehow, all of it's going to come out. And how bad must it have been? How bad must it have been for her to try to pin Russia on Donald Trump as a means to divert attention from her email scandal? How bad must it have been? Well, we know the Clinton Foundation is about as corrupt as a foundation can be. We know Bill Clinton is likable but pretty corrupt. We know that. He was disbarred, remember? He was disbarred. Hillary Clinton, I don't think we have any doubt about her corruption. She is as corrupt as the day is long. You can tell that by looking at her. You know, I hate to profile people, but look at her. Does she not look every bit a guilty leftist as anybody? Oh, I know, that's profiling. But I mean, I look at people and I can usually sum them up by the looks on their face, by their mannerisms, by their insincerity. She is the most insincere looking person when she's out in public making a speech. She comes out with that big goofy smile, pointing at people like she knows somebody important. And if you're watching the video, you can see that. It's like, and in fact, I've got a picture like that on my page. It didn't take long to find one. I just had to, I put in Hillary Clinton pointing and laughing. And I checked out Google Images, and they were all over the place because every time she made an appearance, every time she walked out, her hand was going a mile a minute, and she would start pointing at people and smiling, and so insincere. And then the things she has said, she will do. Everything from stopping coal miners, like Joe Biden has said, from mining coal because we got to get rid of fossil fuels, to DC versus Heller. The Supreme Court got it wrong, she said. No, the Supreme Court got it right, Hillary Clinton. The Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution as it is written, that people have a right to keep and bear arms. Heller versus DC guaranteed the rights of individuals. Individuals, you and me, and your neighbors, and your friends. The individual can own a gun, according to the verdict handed down by the Supreme Court. Heller versus DC She said the Supreme Court got it wrong, that people do not have the individual right to own a gun. How corrupt is she? She is trying to get rid of American infrastructure by eliminating fossil fuels and millions of jobs. She is trying to disarm America by taking away the individual's rights to own guns. This is the Clintons. So, oh boy, I tell you, I can't wait for this. Greg Jarrett, Fox News host and author of the book Clinton Collusion, was on with Sean Hannity last night. And here's what he had to say about the upcoming document dump.
And now we know that Hillary Clinton not only invented the Russia hoax, she financed the Russia hoax, she disseminated the Russia hoax, and Barack Obama knew it. He sat on the information, he covered it up to protect Clinton and destroy Donald Trump. He sat there silently as our government was thrown into turmoil for the last 4 years over what he knew, based on the intelligence presented to him by John Brennan, was phony information conjured up by Hillary Clinton to distract from her own emails. But it demonstrates just how immoral, unscrupulous, devious, and corrupt Hillary Clinton was. And for those like John Brennan, who's now gone on the air and said, well, she didn't do anything wrong, she didn't do anything illegal, he doesn't know. He's not a lawyer. I would argue she has committed crimes depending upon how she disseminated the information. It's a crime, a felony.
Didn't he disseminate
to feed
that information?
False information to a law enforcement.
Didn't he give it to Harry Reid?
He did, and so he would be culpable. I hope that the president's declassification and removal of the redactions sheds light on that, because this does appear to be a criminal conspiracy.
So you haven't heard the last of Harry Reid's name, apparently. Another great California. No, he's not California. What is he, Nevada? I think Harry Reid was Nevada, wasn't he? West Coast done. Political strategist Corey Lewandowski wonders when someone is going to pay the price for crimes that were committed by the Clintons and the Obama administration against the Trump campaign. Corey Lewandowski.
When does Comey and Clapper and Brennan, the guys who perpetuated the greatest crime in American history, get held accountable? When do they go to jail? When do they get walked out in handcuffs, Sean? Because there's been two tiers of justice in this country. One if you're a Donald Trump supporter and you get the book thrown at you, and one if you're a Hillary Clinton supporter and you get away with it. We've seen this time and time again, and we asked Donald Trump, Dave and I sat in the Oval Office and asked Donald Trump if Barack Obama knew about this insurance plan, and in 2018, he said Barack Obama did know. We know Joe Biden knew about it. He was briefed on it. We know Brennan knew about it. Clapper, Comey, none of them have been held account for what has transpired, which is the greatest hoax in American political history. They tried to take out a duly elected president, Sean, and no one, not one person has been put in jail for this yet.
Not one person. And we've known it all along. We have known it all along. We've known this was a hoax all along, since smug little Adam Schiff, who I nailed. I pinned him as a liar the first time I saw him. One of many times he appeared on MSNBC saying he had proof. He personally himself had proof that Trump colluded with Russia. I knew, I could tell by the look on his face, in his beady little long-suffering eyes, that he was lying. And of course he was. Of course he was. This was all a big setup. It was all a big setup to distract from Hillary Clinton's misdoings. How about that? And now some light is going to be shed. Oh, the wheels of government turn slowly. I can't wait. I don't know if I can wait. I wish I could go home right after this show, turn on the TV, and sit and listen. Listen to the truth pour out and laugh at my Democratic friends who always jab me with T-Rump and the orange Nazi. I am so sick of the idiocy of these people. I can't wait to be able to say, Here you go. Here you go. I had all these people all during the Mueller investigation. Every day, I had this one guy, he would post, I swear to God, he posts like 20 or 30 times a day from different news sources. Mueller's got Trump. Trump's going to be impeached. Trump's guilty. Trump colluded, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, you just wait and see. And sure enough, nothing. All that posting. And the person I'm thinking of owned a business. And why would you own a business and do this? Take such a hardline side. You know what? And I'm still friends with the guy. I haven't talked to him for a long time, but we're still friends on Facebook. I checked out his page the other day. Not a single. It's like crickets. Crickets. I'm hoping maybe he's seen the light. Doubtful, but you never know. People do change. No better case than Leo Terrell. So, while Obama is getting set to be put under the spotlight and shown for what he is, Michelle Obama is, well, she's being Michelle Obama. She is being the elitist and she no shame whatsoever. She knows exactly what her husband and his administration was involved in. Of course she knows. If she doesn't, she's dumb. I don't think she's dumb. I think she's very smart. She's very, 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 very rich. I know that. But she knows the trouble that you're going through right now. And I understand people are going through hard times now. The COVID-19 shutdowns. Why is that? Why is it? Is it because of COVID-19? No. It's because of the governor's edicts. It's because of Democratic governor's edicts across the country. Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida has loosened things up a lot, as have many Republican governors. And guess what? There's not widespread death. South Dakota never locked down. They're now running ads. Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, is running ads all over Fox News saying, come to South Dakota. I'd love to go to South Dakota. I told my wife I want to live in South Dakota. She said, what's in South Dakota? I said, Kristi Noem and Mount Rushmore. So far, she's not buying it, but there's still hope. Now, you remember who said, when they go low, we go high? You remember who said that? Does the name Michelle Obama ring a bell?
It's unbelievable.
Whoa, no, it doesn't. Let's try today's date.
How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
Oh, yes, Michelle. When they go low, we go high. All right, so now what is she saying? She's still going high? Well, you be the judge. How about that? Her idea of high, to me, is lower than a snake's belly, apparently. Here's some of the audio from a fresh Michelle O video.
But let's be very real. America is divided right now. And a lot of people are being sold lies from those who want to get rich or stay in power, or sometimes both. And as I've said before, we must all empathize with those who might not look like us or vote like us. We have got to put ourselves in one another's shoes. Look, think about it. You've worked hard all your life, and for too long, you've watched the rich get richer. You've lost your farms and your livelihoods to corporate greed. You've seen your beloved towns shattered by joblessness. You've watched families destroyed by drug addiction and mental health challenges. All of this long before this virus hit. And it is frustrating to hear some folks say that you've been the beneficiary of privilege, that the color of your skin gives you a head start.
We bring race into it now.
That is the reality for far too many hardworking, decent Americans. But right now, the president and his allies are trying to tap into that frustration and distract from his breathtaking failures by giving folks someone to blame other than them. They're stoking fears about Black and brown Americans, lying about how minorities will destroy the suburbs.
Oh, my word.
Whipping up violence and intimidation.
Listen to this.
And they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement
it's peaceful.
For racial solidarity.
Peaceful.
It's true. Research backs it up. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all.
Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations had violence. It's such a tiny fraction that they completely overwhelmed municipal police departments who had to stand down and let them destroy cities. It was just a tiny little itsy bitsy fraction, like the little itsy bitsy spider. Just tiny. Disingenuous, Michelle. Who are you? What are you trying to divert from now? What's going to happen when the news comes out about your husband's administration? Are you trying to distract the public from that by playing the savior of people everywhere based on the color of their skin, which we would like to forget? We just want nice people to get along. Why do you keep bringing race into it? I could care less about race. I like nice people with good morals who are hard workers and love America and love democracy. I don't care what the color of their skin is, where they're from, what their voice sounds like, what their accent is. I don't care, and neither do most Americans, but you seem preoccupied with it. So Donald Trump is spreading lies, according to her. But wait, Michelle wasn't done. She needed to take more jabs at the president. She needed to call him, wait for it, racist. She had to call him a racist. Even though there are plenty of blacks who I've heard say, Donald Trump is not a racist. He's not a racist. Black people who have known him for many, many years say, what the hell are you talking about? But she still needed to take some jabs because Michelle Obama, who doesn't know Donald Trump from Adam, knows he's racist. And in keeping with her husband and Rahm Emanuel's mantra, we don't want to let a good crisis go to waste. Do we, Michelle?
So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist. But that doesn't mean it won't work. Because this is a difficult time, a confusing time. And when people hear these lies and crazy conspiracies repeated over and over and over again, they don't know what to think. With everything going on in their lives, they don't have time to fact check falsehoods being spread throughout the internet. And even reasonable people might get scared.
Don't worry, she'll fact check for you.
One thing this president is really, really good at is using fear and confusion and spreading lies to win.
Fear. He's trying to allay fear. Trying to spread fear. How is he trying to spread fear, Michelle? Be specific. Be specific. How is he trying to spread fear. I have not heard him spread fear. I've heard him say, take it easy. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. That's what I've heard. Spreading fear. They doesn't like black and brown people. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you know, to her followers, to the people who love the passion in her voice, and she can convince anybody. She could convince a cow farmer to buy manure. So Donald Trump is spreading lies to win, but Joe Biden is as pure as the driven snow. You heard Joe Biden earlier. I dare say that Joe Biden is as big a liar as anyone when it comes to politics. How else could someone who has done nothing for 47 years stay in office? And his corruption is beyond the pale. From the money he secured for his family, to his denial of any allegations against him, to his refusal to release documents from his files at the University of Delaware to look into the Tara Reade case, which now Kamala Harris, who'll be on the vice presidential stage tonight, Kamala Harris has all of a sudden forgot the Me Too movement. She could give a crap about Tara Reade because she can be somebody. She could be the president of the United States. Don't think for a minute that's not what she's looking at. She couldn't make it on her own on that debate stage. Could not do it. Nobody liked her enough to vote for her. In fact, she got out before the first primary, I think. She was polling so horribly low. Nobody likes her. Trump was right. Nobody likes Kamala Harris. They think they're voting for Joe Biden, but they're not. They're voting for Kamala Harris. You mark my words. Kamala Harris is the one you've got to watch and listen to tonight because she has delusions of grandeur. She thinks she is going to be the president, and she may very well be. Good chance she will, if elected. So somebody nobody likes is going to become president by proxy because she is with Joe Biden. Think about that. You're not voting for Joe Biden. You're voting for a whole pile of puppeteers in his inner circle. You want to hear who they are? You want to hear who the anti-constitutional, un-American, gun-grabbing, freedom speech-hating people are? Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Kamala Harris. There are more. There are more. We are America. It's our death knell if we elect Harris Biden. Yeah, that's the order I picture it being in. Joe Biden is the placeholder. Kamala Harris is the chosen one. There's your glass ceiling broken right there. Not only a woman, a black woman. President of the United States. And she wants to be the first. That's why all of a sudden humanity be damned. To hell with Tara Reade. She's just a person. I don't care about her getting her day in court or being heard by Senate Judiciary Committees or testifying on Capitol Hill. No, because I'm going to be the president. I'm Kamala Harris. The one who didn't prosecute, convicted, and guilty priests in California when she was the Attorney General. Child abusing priests did not touch them. Why? Power. Michelle wasn't done, though. Michelle wasn't done. Now, we're going to find out a lot more once these documents from Russiagate are declassified. And she knows it. She knows it. So she's trying to grease the skids for Joe Biden. She's trying to be all pure and wholesome and all-American, although nothing could be further from all-American than Michelle Obama, who is a race baiter in her own right. Michelle Obama goes on her pity party in this piece about how her race has made her the target of hate.
As a Black woman who has, like the overwhelming majority of people of color in this nation, done everything in my power to live a life of dignity and service and honesty, the knowledge that any of my fellow Americans is more afraid of me than the chaos we are living through right now.
Oh, please.
Well, that hurts.
Oh, boy.
It hurts us all. It is a heaviness that sits on our hearts. So I want to appeal for some empathy here too. I want everyone who is still undecided to think about all those folks like me and my ancestors, the moms and dads who worked their fingers to the bone to raise their kids right, the teenagers who wear hoodies while working hard to get their diplomas, the millions of folks who look like me and fought and died and toiled as slaves and soldiers and laborers to help build this country. Put yourselves in our shoes.
Crocodile tears. Crocodile tears.
Imagine how it feels to wake up every day and do your very best to uphold the values that this country claims to hold dear.
Claims.
Truth, honor,
Yeah.
decency.
She hates America.
Only to have those efforts met by scorn, not just by your fellow citizens, but by a sitting president.
Oh my God.
Imagine how it feels to have suspicion cast on you from the day you were born, simply because of the hue of your skin.
I need violins.
To walk around your own country scared
Oh,
that
my
someone's
word. Oh.
unjustified fear of you could put you in harm's way.
Please.
Terrified of what 4 more years of this kind of division might mean for the safety of you and those you love. Living with the knowledge that no matter how hard we try, how much good we do in the world, there will be far too many who will never see our humanity, who will project on us their own fears of retribution for centuries of injustice,
Oh,
and thus
boy.
only see us as a threat to be restrained.
A threat to be restrained. Says the woman that was making well over $300,000 as a corrupt vice president at a University of Chicago hospital, and as a part-timer, when her husband went on the campaign trail to be president, as a part-timer was making more than $100,000 a year. How would you like to work a part-time job and make over $100,000 a year and be corrupt in the process? You don't believe it? Read the book by Michelle Malkin, Culture of Corruption. Look for it. Read it. If you're left or right, read the book. Learn a little bit more about the Obamas. Read a little bit more about the Obamas. Barack Obama is famous for saying, well, there were no problems during my administration. There were no scandals during the Obama administration. Well, I think we're about to find out about a big one here. Who knows how many others there were? And don't say there weren't, because there were. But all you need is a willing participant, a lemming, a Kool-Aid drinker, a follower, a sheep. That's all you need. And your words are golden. Remember what Michelle Obama always says.
It's unbelievable.
No, you did that again to me.
How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is when they go low, we go high.
Yes. They go high. They've been going high for the last 4 years, haven't they? Investigation after investigation after investigation after accusation. They just hate Trump. Just say it. You hate Trump. Just say, I hate that. And Kirstie Alley had it right. CNN News, why don't you just report, we hate Donald Trump? Just say it. Just say it and get it out of the way. We all know it. It's clear. It's transparent. We understand why you report the way you report, why you say the things you say. You hate Donald Trump. Just admit it. And that way, it's out there on the table. And you don't have to try to cover it up. Because you don't cover it up very well. It's 11:51 right now. Got to take a break. We'll be right back.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills. We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of the people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
This is retired Major General Bill Libby. I know Susan Collins, and I trust her to protect our veterans and our military families. Susan's father served in World War II, earning 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star. He instilled in Susan a great respect for those who've served and sacrificed, and she delivers for us. Susan improved access to health care for rural veterans. When 2 administrations tried to cut funding for homeless veterans, Susan restored it, reducing veteran homelessness by 50%. And Susan put an end to the unfair widow's tax. These aren't campaign promises, they're delivered results. The VFW praised Susan for her, quote, unwavering support of veterans, service members, and their families. And Susan received the Distinguished Citizen Award from the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. This is retired Major General Bill Libby. Susan Collins is, and has always been, a champion for Maine veterans.
I'm Susan Collins, and I've approved this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
Are you feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff at home day after day? Well, now that we can finally get out and do a little bit of shopping, why not head over to Town Line Antiques? At Town Line Antiques, you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and much, much more. So get away from it all with a look to the past at Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi, Facebook. Stick with me. We've got a break. I've got 2 breaks right back to back here. But in the middle, you've got to hear this Joy Reid, the Joyless Reid, the MSDNC chick. You got to hear her. She is holding out hope that Donald Trump dies. And this is now being reported. This piece is now being reported by Fox News. I put it together. I got it this morning. I want you to hear it. And then that's about all the time we're going to have. But you got to hear this. Stand by.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
Welcome back. 11:54. One more thing. Because I am running very late here, I believe. Let me check here real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I am. Okay. So I want to get this Joy Reid thing in for you. This woman is insufferable. Joy Reid, MSNBC is the most horrible, corrupt network on the planet, and they and NBC and Lester Holt and Nightly News, and they're all in it together. And this is absolutely deplorable. There is so much stuff I had to get to today that I almost missed this one. And I notice now that Fox News is reporting on it, putting Joy Reid in the spotlight because she seems to be wishing or hoping for the possibility that, well, maybe Donald Trump could still die. There's still a chance. This is just absolutely sick. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to the Cuties thing. But I guess Cuties is being sued now. Netflix is being sued over Cuties. Anyway, so this is important right now. I want you to hear this. Primetime racist Joy Reid on The Readout has been comparing Donald Trump standing on the balcony to Mussolini, calling it his Mussolini moment. Now, Benito Mussolini was the Italian dictator who founded the National Fascist Party, died back in 1945. So Joy Reid had her leftist panel discussing Trump's moment and then comparing him to the late Herman Cain, and seemed to be holding out hope in a very transparent way that the president might still die. Listen to her.
Lippy, I reached out to you yesterday. I emailed you yesterday just about watching Donald Trump do his Mussolini movement. People started noticing that he appeared to be laboring in his breathing, that at one point he put his hand on his diaphragm like he was wincing in pain. He was trying to look like a tough guy, but he looked, quite frankly, like a very sick elderly man with a lot of makeup on. That's what he looked like to my eye. And so I want to just direct you just for a moment to a Tim O'Brien tweet. Now, Tim O'Brien is obviously not a doctor, but he just put down a timeline that I love you to comment on. It says here, Herman Cain. He's talking about Herman Cain, a Trump ally to the end of his life. He got sick on 6/24. He attended a Trump rally with no mask. We don't know if that's where he got it. We should note that. He tested positive on the 2nd of July. By the 30th of July, he was dead. And in between the 2nd and the 30th, he kept saying he was feeling better. I'm sure at some point, maybe his doctor, I don't know, sent him home, thought he was fine, but he ended up dying. How much danger is Donald Trump in? A few days, we don't know how many days into his coronavirus prognosis.
Wow. Wow. Did you hear the wishful thinking in her voice? So, he said he was feeling better and then he died. So how much danger is Donald Trump in? This is our media. Watch Fox News. Watch The Blaze. Watch Newsmax. Watch Sky News in England. You will get more truth and compassion and reality than you're going to get from these jokers. Remember what Chuck Todd says.
Just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial.
I can't even hear him. Never mind. He's too... I don't want to hear Chuck Todd anyway say there is no editorial opinion on MSNBC during the day. Ha, what a loser. What a freaking loser he is. All right, I'm done. I'm telling you, I can't wait for this document dump, the declassified, unredacted documents that are going to put Hillary's feet to the fire. Finally, I hope. But they have a way of getting out of things or killing those who don't agree with them. We'll have to wait and see. Have a great day.
AM 1160, WSKW. Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and